Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Houston.
Last night, the long ball propelled the Astros to victory to even the series with the Padres. Tonight, Lucas Harrell takes the mound for the Astros. They go for back-to-back wins. It's time to stand up and cheer. The Astros take on the Padres next on Fox Sports Houston. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's Game 3 of this 4-game series. The Astros meeting the San Diego Padres. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies. The Astros are going to be going with a 6-man starting rotation. JD.
And tonight, one of those 6 men is Lucas Harrell. He's taking the mound against Clayton Richard of the Padres. These guys both grew up in the White Sox organization. Richard has found success in San Diego. This year he's 5-7 with a .395. He's 3-0 with an ERA below 2 in his last 3 starts. Lucas Harrell having a solid rookie year, 6-6, coming out perhaps his best start. Punched out 9 last time out.
Coming up, who takes a leg up in this 4-game series? Jed Lowry and the Astros were hammering away last night. They got a big long ball from J.D. Martinez. Jordan Schaefer chiming in as well as Chris Johnson. We'll see what Game 3 brings in just a moment.
Of the set, rather, with the Padres. This is a 4-game series. We'll wrap up tomorrow. The Astros, of course, trying to take an advantage in this series with a win tonight, waiting to take the field for game number 3. Lucas Harrell has been an interesting story. I know Brownie and JD are going to talk about how good he was in his last start, but he's been a pretty solid pitcher all year, and he's one of those in the 6 now And we'll see how long that 6 lasts. Can it go past the All-Star break? Well, if they keep pitching well, what do you do? We'll find out. He's on the field now. The Astros have taken the field, so let's go to the booth. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies.
Thank you, Greg Lucas. As Harold gets ready to warm up, he'll need his battery made first. Chris Snyder's headed in that direction toward home plate, while the Hyundai starting lineup for Bud Black starts with Will Venable in right field. It's Everett Cabrera at shortstop, Chase Headley at third base, Carlos Quentin left field, Yonder Alonso starting for the first time. He's been out with a sore left knee. He's at first base. Logan Forsythe is at second base. Cameron Maven plays center field with Nick Hundley, the catcher, for Clayton Richard.
Lucas Harrell is 4-1 here at Minute Maid Park. His one loss coming last time out against the Indians, and ironically, maybe his best start of the year. 7 innings, just 2 hits. He walked 3, struck out 9. Very sharp outing last time for Lucas Harrell. But unfortunately for him, he took the loss to the Cleveland Indians. And Home Depot provides our defense. We'll take a look at the Astros in the outfield first. Martinez, Schaefer, and Bixler cover left, center, right. Trying to get as many right-handed bats in there tonight as Brad Mills. He's got Matt Downs at second base. Altuve still on the mend. Chris Snyder behind the plate for Lucas Harrell. Lee Lowry and Johnson round out that infield.
Here at Minute Maid Park, the Astros are 22-18. On this homestand, they're 4-4. And they'll have a 4-game series coming up in San Diego in July. They're 10.5 games out right now in the NL Central with 31 wins, 43 losses. Sun coming through the panels as Lucas Harrell goes to work against Venable. Will Venable, the leadoff man and right fielder, at 264. Checks in with 6 homers. He's driven in 20 runs. Venable is 2 for 5 in this series with a homer. He takes, and there is strike 1.
Padre hitters could figure to see a whole lot of 2-seam sinking fastballs just like that one from Lucas Harrell. He also has a cutter, a good curveball, and a changeup.
Venable bangs that one off his leg for an 0-2 count. Venable's been a .327 hitter on the road, but Harrell at home has kept batting averages down with those numbers. JD.
Yeah, he's been really, really good here at Minute Maid Park. Had a couple rocky ones on the road to inflate that ERA. How about that first start?
3-pitch strikeout. Catches him looking at a heater right down the middle. Interesting.
And look at the movement. Yeah. Starts it at his hip and runs it back to the inside part of the plate. That's the thing with Harrell, boy. When he's got that movement, he doesn't have to try to pick at corners.
Now it's Everett Cabrera, the shortstop with a .266 average. 2 homers, 10 runs batted in for the speedy Cabrera. He looks at strike 1 with Jim Wolf behind the plate. Cabrera is 2 for 6 in this series with an RBI.
Well, Harrell, a very fast worker, so Cabrera going to step out, try to upset his rhythm. Look at Harrell. He has not moved. He's got the line on this putt, and he doesn't want to leave it.
No, sir. He is hot out of the gate.
Come on, boys. I'm ready to pitch.
It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Clayton Richard has had some quick games this year as well. That's top to second base. Matt Downs playing that position tonight. He takes care of out number 2. Jose Altuve will need a little more time, and Brad Mills is going to be cautious with him since he has not had this hamstring injury before. Maybe Saturday he returns to the starting lineup. And he feels he's pretty close right now, but he understands a little more time for healing is required. Chase Headley is next. He shoots one to third base, positioned perfectly. Chris Johnson takes care of it. That's a 7-pitch first inning for Lucas Harrell. Already there's a 0 on the board. Starting lineup card turned in by Brad Mills. And it looks this way. Leadoff man in right field, Brian Bixler. Jed Lowry at shortstop. Carlos Lee at first base. J.D. Martinez promoted to the cleanup spot in left field. Chris Johnson at third base. Chris Snyder the catcher. Matt Downs at second. Jordan Schaefer in center. Lucas Harrell the pitcher.
28-year-old left-hander Clayton Richard works for the Padres tonight. This is his 6th season. 4th with San Diego. He's 35 and 35. Came over in the Jake Peavy deal with the White Sox, and he was a former college signal caller.
There's strike one to Brian Bixler. Bixler was filling in at second base for Altuve, playing right field tonight against the lefty Richard, with Brian Bogusevic taking a seat. Bouncer on one hop to Headley. And across for out number 1.
Let's take a look at the Padres defensively now. Maben, the real speedster in center. He's got Quentin on one side, Venable on the other. Infield third to first is Headley, Cabrera, Forsythe. And our first look at Yonder Alonso at first base. Nick Hundley is behind the plate. Alonso came in to pinch hit last night. He's been nursing a hamstring injury of his own. Clayton Richard has won his last 3 starts, compiling an ERA below 2 in those 3 games. And over his last 8 starts, he's 4-2 with a .283.
Jed Lowry on a 4-game hitting streak. Ripped a home run to the Astros bullpen last night. There's strike one. .270 is his average. With 14 homers, he leads Major League shortstops. He's driven in 33, and he has an .865 OPS.
A quick worker. He's got a 2- and a 4-seam fastball, though he's throwing more 2-seamers trying to get ground balls this year than in the past. Slider, curve, and a changeup. There's the change.
2-1 to Lowry.
Lowry. Go ahead.
He leads the club in homers with 14. The club record for a shortstop is 20, and there's where he ranks among all shortstops. Number 1 spot, JD.
Yeah, number 1 in home runs, number 1 in slugging, number 1 in on-base plus slugging.
Now, what were you going to say?
I was going to say Jed Lowry is number 1 in home runs. Oh, I know what I was going to say. This guy's been nails on left-handed hitters this year. They're hitting just a .196. That's why Mills has got all these right-handed bats in there tonight.
That's close. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Carlos Lee on deck. Astros 10-10 against lefties this year. And there's the breakdown on Richard versus his hitters.
It's a challenge for the Astros then to get him to elevate. He doesn't have the great sinking action like Harrell does. But gets a little fade on his 2-seamer. He's been working very hard to keep it down around the knees. He'll elevate for effect from time to time, try to change the eye level.
Lowry's hitting .207 as a right-handed batter for 58 at bats. That one goes to center field. Maben playing it for out number 2. And it'll be Carlos Lee coming up. Maben's a rangy outfielder. That comes in handy in this ballpark. Carlos Lee with 5 homers, 29 runs batted in. Begins the night at .295. Carlos 1 for 9 in this series. That one hit was a homer. He taps this one to the left side. Headley's there for that. Both pitchers breeze through the first inning, and it's 0-0 after 1. to you by Miller Lite as you enjoy that cold one. And he's enjoying a hot dog as well right here at Minute Maid Park, where the food is ready and the entertainment is waiting, and both pitchers have served notice with that quick first inning that folks need to be in their seats. They're coming down the aisles right now to watch Carlos Quentin, 338, 6 homers, 14 driven in. That's ball one to Quentin, and with that OPS of better than 1100, he certainly gets a pitcher's attention right now. He's gone 4 for 9 in this series.
First right-handed batter Harrell faces tonight. The 3 from the left side, and a bit of an adjustment sometimes for a sinker baller.
That's in the air to right center field. And caught by Bixler. Bart?
Thanks, Bill. The Astros host the Brewers July 6th through the 8th at Minute Maid Park, and on Saturday, the 7th, before that 3:05 game, 10,000 fans will receive a Mike Scott Greatest Moments bobblehead courtesy of Grand Slam for Youth Baseball. The bobblehead commemorates Scott's 1986 no-hitter to clinch the National League West Championship. And to be here for that one, you, of course, can get your tickets at Astros.com. Brownie, back to you.
That's one to look forward to. Number 33. Oh, he provided so many big moments in his franchise history. There's a foul ball. Yonder Alonso at the plate. 253, 2 homers, 18 runs batted in.
Scotty winning the Cy Young Award in '86. Finished runner-up for that award a couple years later.
It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Punched out better than 386.
MVP of the league championship series that year. Even though the Astros lost, that's a rarity. 2 balls, 1 strike. Alonso came in the big trade over the winter with Cincinnati. He's at 189 for the month of June. And that one goes foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Padres had beaten the Astros 4 times in a row. Oh, no. No, little guy. Don't do that. Keep it.
That's what they do at the Little League. You throw them back. Balls cost money.
That's beautiful. 3 balls, 2 strikes. That is so great. That's a line shot into center field and a hit for Alonso. He becomes the first San Diego base runner.
Check this guy out. It's the ball, and without even thinking, he's ready. Now he's like, what did I do? What did I do? Why is everybody looking at me?
Alonso's aboard. Here's Forsythe batting. Forsythe, the second baseman with a 280 average, has 1 homer. He's driven in 5.
Buddy Black's certainly aware of the fact that Lucas Harrell gets a lot of ground ball out, so he's going to have to make some decisions tonight as this game moves along in certain situations, whether to start a base runner, to stay out of a double play.
There's a shot, double play ball, Downs with the feed, and Lauer the middleman.
Might have been a good time to think about it.
That could have been a really good time, but it goes 4-6-3, and it's no runs a hit, nobody left, and no score.
You get an email in. First, go to foxsportshouston.com. Check the front page. If you don't see the Game Connect little box, then go up to the left where there's an open star Astro logo and go to the Astros page. You will then find it. And at that point, you go to Game Connect, and you'll definitely find a spot on Game Connect that says Ask the Broadcasters Questions. That's all you got to do. And send them, and we'll select a 2 or 3 for tomorrow for Jim and Brownie on the pregame show, guys.
Greg, we only have one so far. We need another 1 or 2. It's 2 strikes to J.D. Martinez, 235, 10 homers, 45 driven in.
We've received thousands and thousands, but we have a very diligent filtering process.
You do?
Yeah, we don't just take any old question. It's got to be well thought out, something that stimulates the brain.
Well, we did have the question about you knowing a lot about pitching, and maybe you should be a pitching coach someday. Inside, it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
They work awfully hard. You guys are at the ballpark so early every day.
Someone was just dazzled by your knowledge of pitching and suggested that maybe you should be a pitching coach. Foul back.
You could be a pitching coach from up here. We got all kinds of opinions up here.
This is a better job, right?
Oh, man. Get down there into that.
Can you imagine?
Well, think of it this way. How many pitching coaches have been here since I came in as a broadcaster? And how many broadcasters have we had?
We've only had one with you since '97. There's a shot into left field, and Martinez has a 5-game hitting streak right now.
That's a high-risk, high-reward job down there in that dugout, whether you're the manager or the coach. Tends to be a fair amount of turnover. Stay hot, J.D. Julio Daniel.
Barreled that one. He's been doing that a lot.
Put a hole in the conical pump last night.
He sure did. Now he's aboard for another hot hitter, Chris Johnson. Chris has put together a 7-game hitting streak.
Richard is very difficult to run against.
Strike 1 to CJ, up to 287 with 6 homers, 34 runs batted in. And Chris has gone 13 for 28 during his 7-game hitting streak.
So again, Brad Mills with the same dilemma tonight, with Richard being a guy who gets a lot of ground balls.
1-1. Delightful look at those snow cones from above.
Of course, if you start a base runner, you've got a hitter up there that swings and misses a lot. And the guy on first base not real speedy. And those are the elements in play here. CJ swings and misses a fair bit. JD's not speedy, so if he doesn't make contact, JD would be an easy out on a hit and run play.
That one goes to Alonso. He'll get the force play. Now Cabrera, plenty of time to get it back to him for a 3-6-3 double play.
So basically, we're going to be watching a lot of double plays here tonight, unless we get the right guys on base and the right guys at the plate. Nice play here by Alonso, quickly spinning and getting that throw to second base, giving Cabrera all kinds of time to shuffle out of harm's way and make the return throw to first base.
He did have all kinds of time. Now it's Chris Snyder. Jason Castro has caught the last 4 games. Snyder at 194, back into the rotation with 3 homers, 17 runs batted in.
You know, the old cliche, and we talk about it a lot on the double play ball, is the first guy sure and the second guy quick. But in that instance, it makes all the sense in the world for the first baseman to really try to unload in a hurry, because if he waits, he's got no angle.
Headley with the throw, and in the second inning, no runs, a hit, nobody left. Through 2, there's no score.
Center making cancer history. It was on this date in 1987 that Kevin Bass went 4 for 4 with 4 runs batted in, 11 total bases. That helped Jim DeShay just a bit. 8-2 win. He went to his record 8-2, I should say, and a 6-5 win over the Giants.
Way to go, KB.
Yeah, that was a big one. You got some offense from KB. This was also the date that Greg Zaun hit that walk-off grand slam, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th against the Diamondbacks. That was a pretty big moment. That was in 2002. A lot of big moments on this date.
He went nuts after that. That was fun to watch.
I think he broke some of his teammates' arms on that high five.
He didn't do any somersaults like Aroldis Chapman, but it was just unbridled joy for Zani.
Cameron Maben at 201 with 3 homers, has 22 runs batted in. Maben looks at ball 1. What did you think of the histrionics of Mr. Chapman with the somersaults?
Well, you know, I kind of go back and forth on it, and you know, I'd probably tell him that probably isn't a good idea. I don't think he was trying to show up the Brewers. I just think he was relieved for finally having a good outing. It's been a rough couple of weeks for him. Because I remember years ago, and you'll remember this, Ron Reed, big right-hander for the Phillies, finally had a 1-2-3 inning, and he did a cartwheel on his way off the field. And I think everybody thought that was kind of fun.
Well, it was. Grounded out to second there, and Downs with the throw to lead.
There's a lot of folks now that are really upset with Chapman. I mean, again, if I'm Dusty Baker or Walt Jocketty, I'd say, hey, you know what, probably shouldn't do the forward roll. You know, if you end up hurting yourself, it's really going to be bad.
You know, the famous Rube Waddell used to do even more than that. JD, way back in the old days.
What would the Rube do?
Nick Hundley at 172 takes strike 1. Well, Rube did a series of cartwheels as he made his way to the bench from the pitcher's box in 1900.
Well, maybe that's where Ron Reed got the idea.
Maybe that was it.
Channeling the great Rube Waddell.
Rube pitched 17 innings in a 17-inning game. Game 1 of a doubleheader. And he also won the game with a triple up against the right field fence, 3-2. There's the swing and the foul ball off Jim Wolf's mask. And after he had set down the last Chicago batter in the last of the 17th, he had a series of cartwheels on his way back to the bench.
If I had been coordinated enough to do a cartwheel and I pitched 17 innings, I think I would have cartwheeled too.
Hundley strikes out.
So Lucas Harrell showing us the whole game here so far, as he did last time out. Ground balls with that sinker, but the ability to throw it by you too.
Clayton Richard comes up, and then JD, that was game 1 of the doubleheader, the 17-inning game. They shortened game 2 to 5 innings by mutual agreement, and the manager said to him that if he started the second game, he could have 3 days of fishing instead of going on to Kansas City with the club. So he pitched the 5-inning second game as well.
I like it. I need more of that in the game today. I mentioned a while back that book I had read about the baseball's longest game, bottom of the 33rd.
Yeah.
And there's a couple stories in there. There was a pitcher from the Netherlands, Win Remmerswaal.
Oh, yeah,
if you remember that name.
And
he was quite the character as well. And Harold's going to get 3 outs here before I can tell this story. But Win famously, while pitching for, I don't know if it was with the big league club at the time or Pawtucket or whatever, but anyway, they stopped over in Washington, D.C., and he just left the team, and he was gone for like 3 or 4 days, and he finally showed up back in Pawtucket. And they said, "Where you been?" And he said, I may never get to the United States again. And I wanted to see the nation's capital.
he jumped the club.
Yeah, he just, he was a free spirit. He's like, come on, man.
Wow. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I wouldn't promote that, but I do like the idea. Hey, I'll give you a couple days off to go fishing.
Well, he wasn't a relief pitcher, right? So they probably didn't miss him.
And I guess you obviously couldn't do that in this day and age.
No.
But what you can do in this day and age, and managers sometimes do it, is they'll tell a given player, a real grinder who plays every day, hey, come to the ballpark late. Stay at home as long as possible. Obviously, we need you here, but take BP off, just to change the routine.
Yeah. Well, they let you get your story in, and there's strikeout number 3. Great job by Lucas Harrell of that, just a perfect timing on that strikeout to keep it scoreless. Brad in the background. In the last 4 games, the Astros have scored 27 runs, batting .294. In the previous 10 games, they scored 27 runs, and they hit .205. They have picked up the pace with J.D. Martinez, Chris Johnson, and company, pouring it on the last few games. And Matt Downs is in the lineup tonight as well. Another right-handed bat. Right-handed hitters have hit 11 of the 12 home runs allowed by Clayton Richard this year. Downs, a 172 hitter with 4 homers, has driven in 8. He is 0 for 6 in his career against Richard, but has an opportunity to change that right here. That's up for ball 1. Richard has faced only 6. He gave up a Martinez single, but then that was followed by a double play ball by Johnson. Way up, and it's 2-0. Clayton, 28 years old. J.D. mentioned, a quarterback at the University of Michigan, native of Lafayette, Indiana. He was 5-9 last year for the Padres. He's up. No, he gets a strike call there, and it's 2-1. In 2010, Clayton Richard was 14-9 for San Diego, pitched 201 innings, and made 33 starts. Now 3-1.
Rick Leach was a quarterback at Michigan that also played professional baseball. Had a little bit of time in the big leagues, but not much.
Detroit, maybe. That's hit well to left center field by Downs. He has crushed this ball. And it is 1-0 Houston as Matt Downs hits number 5. A no-doubter to left center field.
Well, the Astros went through that spell where they were not doing much hitting at all. They were striking out at a blistering pace, and now they've really turned things around. That's the 11th home run they've hit in the last 4+ ball games. So that career 0-for against Richard goes by the boards. Root now.
Yeah, he got him to root. Downs now has 9 runs batted in, and it's Jordan Schaefer showing bunt, taking strike 1. 241 for Jordan, 3 homers. He's driven in 17. Big swing of the bat by Matt Downs. Schaefer's 2 for 6 in this series. That rolls out to Clayton Richard, and it's out number 1. Well, the Astros have really picked up the home run pace. They hit a couple last night, Lowry and Martinez. They hit 3 in game 1 of this series, Bixler, Lee, and Castro. Downs cashing in on his playing time tonight at second base for the injured Altuve. Lucas Harrell will bat. Harrell has 5 hits and 26 at bats. Switch hitter. There's strike one. You know, Altuve, JD was talking about his hamstring today. He said, no, I've never had that injury. He said, but I'll get 4 days of rest over the All-Star break. I said, don't count on it, pal. No balls, 2 strikes.
Well, yeah, it seems like Altuve or Lowry will go. One of them's got to go, right?
Yeah.
Unless they take a pitcher, but don't see that unless it's Myers.
No, that's strikeout number 1. We go to Bart.
Thanks, Bill. You know, the Flashback Fridays have been very popular with the fans. Well, the next Flashback Friday, presented by the Methodist Hospital System, is coming up July 6th against the Brewers. The Astros will wear the 1980s shoulder rainbow jerseys on the field, and Jose Cruz will toss out the ceremonial first pitch. After the game, all fans can enjoy Friday night fireworks presented by Marathon Oil, weather permitting. You can get your tickets for that game at Astros.com. Bill?
Thanks, Bart. There's ball 1 to Brian Bixler. He grounded out to third earlier. That's a strike. That makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Some of the injured players are getting closer to returning to the Astros now. Good downward tilt on that pitch by Richard. That makes it 1-2 to Bixler. Wilton Lopez is throwing bullpens again. Was to throw one today, and then he'll get another one in Chicago and another one in Pittsburgh, and then maybe have 2 appearances in the minor leagues before returning to the Astros. Bixler strikes out. The Downs home run makes it 1-0 Houston after 3. Downs' 3rd inning homer. Now Lucas Harrell throws ball 1 as the 4th inning begins with Venable. He was caught looking in the first, and Harrell needed only 3 pitches to get him out. That's rolled to Carlos Lee. Needs only 2 pitches this time for out number 1.
Second time through the order. Lucas offers up a pretty good changeup there to Venable.
AT&T trivia time. Other than Tony Gwynn, who is the only Padre to win a batting title.
Padre to win a batting title. How many Tony won? About 8?
7 or 8, you know. Let's see, another Padre. Here's the bunt, and it's barehanded. It's a foul ball as Snyder tried to get to it on Cabrera's bunt, but it's strike 1. Let's see, who else won a batting title?
Tony. We can get on top of that fastball. That's the Svelte. Young Tony Gwynn.
Oh, yeah. He was a base stealer in those days.
He was a great athlete. Played basketball at San Diego State as well as baseball. Was their point guard.
Well, Tony Gwynn Jr. is kind of built like that right now, playing for the Dodgers. Let's see. Batting title.
Does it precede Tony or was it at post Tony?
During Tony's reign?
Wow.
Interesting.
Alan Wiggins? He hit for a high average?
He did, but I don't think he won a batting title.
Pip Roberts?
Pip hit for a high average, but he didn't win a batting title. Guy with some power. 2 balls and a strike.
Batting title with the Padres,
Let's
not named
see.
Gwynn. That's a good one.
Wally Joyner won one of the Angels, right?
Oh, no.
I think he was Rookie of the Year. He didn't win a batting title. 3 balls and a strike. Let's see. Padre batting title. Guy with power. We may just miss out on this answer. Cabrera takes a stroll. That's the first walk for Harrell. All right, let's go to it right now.
Who is this? Who is this?
We don't know.
Mystery Friar. Oh, Sheffield.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, come on. I was a teammate of his that year.
3:30, 1992.
Yeah, that was the year they had the 4 tops.
4 tops.
Tony Fernandez and Gary Sheffield and Tony Gwynn and Fred McGriff.
Oh, yeah, the 4 tops.
Lit it up in the first half, and then it kind of. Sheffield flirted with the Triple Crown there that year for a while.
Yeah. Now, when they took the field, did they sing Sugar Pie Honey
I think
Bunch?
they did, yep.
Okay. Chase Headley grounded out to third in the first inning.
Kind of in a more of a mellow California beat, though.
There's strike one. Chase Utley is back, and he homered in his first at bat.
How about that?
So the Phillies got their hard-hitting second baseman back from knee problems, and he went deep off James McDonald in his first bat of the 2012 season.
Didn't pick on a slouch either. McDonald's having a great year.
Lowry waits for this one, and he takes care of out number 2. Yeah, McDonald brought a 2.19 ERA into that start.
Oh, yeah, look at John Kruk at 323 that year. He was a Philly then at the time. Pip Roberts, 323.
Sheffield played for a lot of teams.
Yeah, he did.
How long do you think he was a Padre? 3 or 4 years? Maybe not even that long.
I don't recall.
Don't recall either. Carlos Quentin hit the fly ball to right field in the second inning.
Big news out of New York today.
With the Yankees?
Yeah.
And their pitching injuries?
Yeah.
Pettit and Sabathia.
Yeah, Sabathia went on the DL with a strained groin. Not a big concern. They feel like he'll be back shortly after the All-Star break. But Andy Pettit broke his leg, his fibula near his left ankle.
Oh.
He's going to be out a couple of months.
Now back, it's 1-1. That's a tough injury. Let's go to who's hot and who's not. And Andrew McCutchen's hot.
And McCutchen, one of the best players in the National League. Jason Hayward starting to fulfill his great promise. How about the A's? Scoring a ton of runs. Big Poppy hit his 399th. And we told you about the bad news out of New York. So I suspect they'll be in the market. They'll be looking for some pitching help.
You know it. Snap throw back to first base. The runner gets back. It's ball 2. You know, Jeff Luhnow was on the pregame show, Astros Live, with Kevin and Sparky, and they asked him about trade situations. He said, well, it's, you know, kind of a fluid situation. Some things are being discussed at this point, but probably a lot closer to the deadline is when the real action is. A little bit early, but he said, we'll be listening. He said, you really have to keep in touch with all the GMs all the time to know their needs. Runner going. No throw to second. Looked like Snyder maybe couldn't get a grip on it. Either that or he thought he had no chance, and it's ball 3.
Yeah, Cabrera can flat out fly. He's 12 for 12 now in stolen base attempts. You see him leaning on that front foot. Boys, he got a quick first step. He can really scoot. And Snyder shows very quick feet, gets into throwing position quickly, but that's a good look at it there. He did not have the handle.
Nope.
And he's not going to throw him out with a knuckle curve.
3 balls and a strike. And it's ball 4. Quentin walks. Now Alonso comes up. 2 walks in the inning for Harrell.
Been able to keep the walks down. Fox Tracks had that one at the top of the zone. It's a pitch you don't really count on getting the breaking ball up there. Usually don't get that call. Sometimes you do.
Doug Brocail hoping that out number 3 is coming soon with Yonder Alonso, the batter. He banged a line drive hit to center field earlier. Now Pettit got hit by a batted ball from the Indians' Casey Kochman in the 5th inning. Forced him out of the game. Bouncer through the legs of Harrell. There's Lowry waiting for it and turning it into out number 3. No runs, no hits. 2 men stranded. 1-0 Houston in the 4th.
Is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now you can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club Combo. By the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. By Mattress Firm. Save money. Sleep happy. And by The Amazing Spider-Man in theaters July 3rd.
Fans coming down onto the concourse at Minute Maid Park for this Wednesday night encounter. And it's 1-0 already. It's the bottom of the 4th inning.
And to repeat what I said last night, folks, this is the best place to be. I mean, it's 109 degrees outside these days. Come on in, enjoy some baseball. It's too hot to do anything else.
Yeah, it really is. No balls, 2 strikes. Longtime Astros scout Walt Matthews is watching the game tonight. Foul back.
So the Yankees obviously are probably going to be looking for some pitching help. Arizona have placed the Diamondbacks. They've put Daniel Hudson on the DL. He has a tear in his ulnar collateral ligament. He may need Tommy John surgery. Obviously, that would put him out for the year. And they're just making a run. So, you know, I guess if you're the Diamondbacks, if you've got a couple options in AAA, you give them a shot to see what they can do. And as the trade deadline nears, then you go into panic mode.
CJ wants some votes from fans for Altuve and Lowry. You have until tomorrow night to vote, and then the voting shuts down. Teams are announced, I believe, Sunday.
Well, neither one of them is going to win the vote.
No.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't vote. Because it is a democracy after all. But either one of them, both of them certainly are deserving to be selected.
It's a drive to right field, and Venable watches it go into his glove. Well, that little thing was hit pretty hard coming off his bat, but then Venable got back. And Lowry hit a ball left-handed into the Astros pen last night. Almost did it here right-handed.
He's been a lot better left-handed this year, which runs against his career pattern, but a good swing of the bat there. He's actually had 2 good swings tonight. We just had that shot of him shaking his head. I don't know if he's frustrated, if he felt like he hit that better and it should have carried over the outfielder. Or... Pretty good swing, though.
Carlos Lee takes ball 1. He was around the batting cage tonight. Astros owner Jim Crane was on the field, brought a couple of youngsters up, took their photos with Carlos. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Jim was on the field, and the media gathered around him, as they frequently do when they see him. He gave a little update on some things. Ground ball goes foul. For instance, the Astros announced today the Community Leaders Program. The Astros and the city of Houston are collaborating with Houston-based corporations to build or refurbish youth baseball and softball fields in disadvantaged neighborhoods. And you'll be seeing the names of some of those companies up here in the ballpark soon. 1 hopper to shortstop. Cabrera on over to first. 2 outs.
There you go. Some of the great uniforms in the history of this fine game.
J.D. Martinez singled through the left side of the infield. In the air on the right side this time. Alonso is backpedaling. It's a 1-2-3 4th for Richard. It's 1-0 Astros.
The Astros will be wrapping up this 4-game series with the San Diego Padres. Going with that 6-man rotation for the All-Star break. That means Dallas Keuchel will make his 3rd Major League start coming up tomorrow. Tough to be a whole lot better than he was last time out. He's the only Astro with a complete game this season. That's what he did Saturday against the Cleveland Indians. That's been your Mazda game break. Brownie, JD, I like the way they're going with that 6-man rotation for the time being. Interesting to see Dallas Keuchel get another start.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a great idea. Hard to send him down after the way he threw the ball.
Forsythe grounds that one off his foot.
And we get to this stage of the season. The starts are piling up for the guys that have been in the rotation all year. The innings are starting to climb, so and a little extra rest for everybody. Not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, I think, what is it, Lucas Harrell will basically miss out on the start, as will Bud, but, you know, with the injuries and the fact that Harrell, really his first full season in the big leagues, I think that could be a plus down the stretch.
Fly ball goes to right field. Bixler broke back. Now it's in front of him for a hit. And he took a step back, and that cost him as far as trying to get there and catch the fly ball hit by Forsythe.
You see a big swing in that trajectory. A lot of times the outfielder will think back. And by the time he realizes that, nope, got to come in on this one, it's too late.
Forsythe with a single reaches to lead off the 5th inning, and it's Maben following him. He grounded out to second in the 3rd inning.
Brian's played a lot more infield than outfield in his career.
Maben's hit .292 in his last 26 games. That's strike one. Chris Snyder said after Harrell pitched so well last time out, giving up 2 hits and 1 run in 7 innings, as you see the foul ball off his leg, that he thought the hitters were looking for a lot of sinkers from Lucas, and last time out Lucas really didn't throw as many pitches down as he had been.
Yeah, they recognized early on. I remember thinking in the 2nd inning that Snyder had done a great job starting to pound the fastball in on the left-handed hitters. They looked to me like they were inclined to take that 2-seamer and just bang it the other way.
Chris said, well, you know, they look at the stats and they see 73% sinkers, so that's what they go up there looking for. And Lucas gave them a different look last time.
That's money.
Strikeout, and that's number 4.
The White Sox are going to come to regret letting Lucas Harrell go, putting him on waivers. What a great claim this has a chance to be.
It sure does. Maben was caught looking, and now it's Hundley batting. Hundley struck out in the 3rd inning. Off the end of the bat, it's on the infield, and Matt Downs wants it. 2 down. Best wishes go out to Ernie Williamson, a longtime friend, for a recovery tonight. 4 strikeouts for Lucas Harrell, 7 groundouts, 3 flyouts. And now it is Richard batting. Clayton struck out in the 3rd inning. Richard has 3 hits this season. He's driven in 4 runs. Angels are whipping Baltimore 11-1 in Baltimore after 5.
Speaking of whipping, you see what the Mets did to the Cubs today?
No.
17-1 at Wrigley. The wind was blowing out half the time, just whenever the Mets batted. Jonathan Neese pitched for New York, and he must have been dealing because the wind was, it was on one of those hot, humid days with the wind blowing out at Wrigley. The Mets took full advantage, but the Cubs only managed to score 1 run.
No balls, 2 strikes. In that opener in Chicago Friday afternoon, it's Bud Norris and lefty Paul Maholm. Saturday afternoon, Jay Happ opposes Matt Garza. Sunday, it's Wandy Rodriguez and Travis Wood. Broken bat over the mound out to second. Downs fires late to first base. Looked like a difficult play all the way, and Richard was able to beat it with the broken bat looper. It's a hit for Richard.
Yeah, well, see it checks up there on the grass, and that takes a little steam out of it, and Downs had to make an adjustment to come and get it, and that was the difference. From the QB busting it down the line. Run like you got a linebacker chasing you.
Yeah. Will Venable is 0 for 2, a strikeout looking at a ground out.
Richard's last start, he went 2 for 2 and drove in 3 and got the win. He's only the only Padre pitcher ever to do that.
Ever?
Ever to get a hit in each of his official at bats, drive in 3 runs, and get the win.
Chris Johnson plays it to first. Venable is retired. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men stranded. 1-0 Houston in the 5th. see a home run swing from Matt Downs. He worked the count to 3-1, and he hammered it.
That's his game right there. When he can look for a heater, take a big swing, he's got plenty of pop.
That's the only run in this game. Downs a good selection to play for Altuve. Richard has allowed 2 hits and 1 run with no walks. Harrell has allowed 3 hits and no runs through 5 with 2 walks. Manning 4.
Looks like Millsy's had a little lineup magic working lately, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, before Maxwell got hurt, when he put him in the starting lineup, he would get something done. Bixler leading off the other night, starts the game with a home run. Calls Downsy's number here tonight. Boom, dinger.
Yeah, he has. There's ball 1. He said, hey, I'd rather stay with the same lineup if I could. Johnson bounced into a 3-6-3 double play in the 2nd inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Astros do not have a day off until the All-Star break. So that would be the reason to rest some people. Foul back, and it's a 1 ball, 2 strike count. But one thing he said about Jason Castro catching the last 4 games consecutive was that he said, well, we told you last week that we would do that with Jason. And then we know he's going to get those 4 games off over the All-Star break. So we prepared for that. We wanted to build him up. So now it's Chris Snyder tonight, and then Castro tomorrow night will be the starting catcher, and then Snyder will start Friday afternoon, and he'll catch Bud Norris. Normally he doesn't catch Bud, but with the day game after the night game, they don't want to catch Castro those 2 games in a row.
Yeah, and you could turn it the other way around, but you want as many left-hander bats in there tomorrow against Cashner, the hard-throwing right-hander.
Good point. So Bud will go Friday, and his normal day to pitch would have been tomorrow night, but so is Dallas Keuchels. This will give Bud's leg an extra day. Roll to first base. Alonso takes care of out number 1.
Well, Bud ought to be jumping on an airplane sometime tomorrow afternoon or evening to get into Chicago as opposed to flying with the team, because the team's going to arrive, best case scenario, around 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And if there's a long game tomorrow or extra innings, we're getting about 4 o'clock, didn't we? Last time we flew to Chicago after night game?
Sounds right, yeah.
And by the time you take that bus ride to the hotel and hit the rack, yeah, it's going to be a record short night for the players.
Chris Snyder grounded out in the 2nd, but we are sending our own representative ahead, Kevin Eschenfelder. So he might be on that same flight, but
Kevin might be doing color commentary too, because I might be asleep in the hotel room. If we come on the air and there's no noise, you know, Brownie and I are sleeping.
I'm going to go ahead and just do a little advanced scouting mission for
you
you
get
guys.
ready, yeah.
Absolutely. I'll save a seat on the plane for Bud, and we'll see you when we get there.
Hey, bring me some peanuts.
Okay. You got it. I'll be bringing you coffee. How about that?
Iced coffee. I think it's going to be hot in Chicago, too.
I don't think I'll be able to fit in the booth and handing it to you.
Richard couldn't make that play on the comebacker, but the second baseman Forsythe did. 1-4-3 for out number 2. By doing it this way with the rotation, also the Astros get to keep a reliever for 1 more day.
Nice play here by Forsythe, and he has the advantage of Chris going down the line, who's not a speedy guy. He's giving it his all, but he's just not fast. So Matt Downs, he plays Journey when he comes up to hit. That's his, they call it walk-up music.
Mm-hmm. Grounds that one foul. 0-2. You think the players put a lot of thought into that walk-up music?
I think some players put a lot of thought into the walk-up music. I think other players don't care at all. You'd probably tell somebody from the media relations or whoever they coordinate with. I don't care. You play something.
A strikeout for Richard gives him 9 straight, retired after the home run by Downs. That's his 3rd strikeout, and it's 1-0 Astros. Back at the work of Lucas Harrell.
We'll come back to a seamer here. There's one pitch in this sequence that I want you to take note of. Helps tell the Lucas Harrell story. That one right there. That was a good breaking ball. And there's just painting the outside corner of that heater. And a big smile. But that one, I mean, you know, Harrell, again, we talk about the sinker and all the ground balls he gets. A lot of guys that have that game don't have the ability to throw that fastball by it like he did right there. That one was right over the heart of the plate and up a little bit. You don't want to make a living there, but he's got enough zip where you can get away with it if he makes a mistake there in the middle every now and then.
Strike one to Cabrera. He's thrown 15 of 20 first pitch strikes. Through 5 innings, both pitchers had thrown 58 pitches, 40 strikes. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lucas from Springfield, Missouri, 4-1 here with a 2.48 ERA at Minute Maid Park. Shot goes into the seats, and it's 1-2. Pittsburgh 8, Philadelphia 3. They're in the bottom of the 6th in Philly. Mike McHenry hit another one, his 5th. Casey McGee belted his 4th. Chooch Ruiz number 11 and Chase Utley number 1 for the Phils.
Chooch Ruiz leads the league in hitting. Last time I checked, he did anyway.
Wow. Struck him out looking. That's number 5.
Here it is on our Fox Tracks, brought to you by ChooseNissan.com. Again, he comes with that 2-seamer that he starts in, straightens the hitter up, and then just fades back to the corner. Cabrera tosses his bat away in disgust, saying, "You were of no use to me."
Headley looks at ball 1. Ruiz does lead the league with a 361 average. David Wright is second at 354.
When's the last time a catcher led the league in hitting?
Boy, Ernie Lombardi maybe.
Yeah.
It's been forever.
I think Joe Mauer over in the other league, but in this league, Piazza didn't do it, did he?
No. 1 ball, 1 strike. Although, man, he had some high average years. Headley's grounded to third and popped to short. That's out to shortstop Lowry. Oh, he severely got in on his hands. 2 outs. Good work by Harrell, who's second among rookies in innings pitched.
So he just needs a little ground ball now to complete the trifecta. The punch out look and the jam, shot, pop up. Just at the weak little rollover ground ball.
Carlos Quentin comes up. Quentin has flied to right and walked. Padres are on a 10-game road trip. They have 4 of those this year. Strike 1. It's Texas 4, Detroit 2. They're in the middle of the 4th inning in Arlington. David Murphy hit his 8th homer.
Roy Oswalt again tonight for the Rangers.
It's Doug Fister. Fly ball out to center. Schaefer over. Lucas Harrell has 6 dazzling shutout innings and a 1-0 lead.
Out package presented by Kielbasa and Budweiser is available every Thursday home game, and that includes tomorrow's series finale against these Padres. Purchase a loaded ticket that includes a Field 2 box seat, Astros cap, sausage dog, and value draft beer or soda, all for just $30. Go to astros.com/guys night to get those tickets. Bill, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. There's ball 1 to Jordan Schaefer. He grounded back to the pitcher in the third. Clayton Richard in a 1-0 game. Throws ball 2. Lucas Harrell on deck. Brian Bixler due up third. Painted with that one. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Well, Richard.
A little wiggle room off the outside edge.
2-2. This is only the second career start for Clayton Richard against the Astros. In the first one last year, he got a no decision at Houston. He gave up 6 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings.
Swing and a miss there from Jordan. I think I have a tough left-hander like Richard. If Jordan could master that little half swing, I think we talked about Tony Fernandez earlier with the Padres that he used to do, just kind of coming out of the box and just kind of chop it on the ground towards short and run like crazy.
Exactly. Very effective for Tony. You've heard of a 900-pound gorilla on a player's back. That wasn't exactly 900 on that youngster's back. Lucas Harrell taking strike 1. 6-4 Atlanta leading Arizona. Bottom of the 7th in Atlanta. Towering pop. Hundley gets out of the way. Alonso.
Oh boy, he almost stepped on that helmet.
Almost. Bart.
Thank you, Bill. Astros fans, Chevrolet is proud to present a new show called Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. So tune in each Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Houston, or go to hometownkids.tv for more information. Back to you.
There's that high pop-up in the infield. We'll see how close Alonso comes to stepping on the helmet there of Hundley as he bails out of the way. The helmet pops off. I guess it wasn't that close, but that would have been ugly.
That's 11 straight outs for Richard. Now Bixler tried to check his swing. He went. Darrell Cousins with the call at strike 1. Brian is 0 for 2. A ground out and a strikeout. Jason Hayward hit his 12th home run for the Braves tonight. Chipper Jones number 6.
Hayward is on fire.
Yes. It's 1-1. Yankees knocked off Cleveland 5-4 at Yankee Stadium. Freddie Garcia got that win, beating Ubaldo Jimenez. And Rafael Soriano got his 17th save. Robinson Cano belted his 18th home run. 2 balls and a strike. Miami leads the Cardinals 4-3. They're in the bottom of the 7th in Miami. It's been a miserable month for the Marlins. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Their attendance isn't all that great for a new stadium with high expectations for the team, and having spent a lot on free agents over the winter.
Yeah, now they're featured on that TV program, right? On Showtime? Or,
yeah. They are.
And I saw an episode of that very early in the year. I haven't seen it since. You caught it? Have you seen any?
Nope. Haven't seen it. Everett Cabrera. It should be pretty juicy, though, with things that have been happening with their club. That's 12 straight outs for Richard. 1-0 Astros.
by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by Coshada Casino, the largest, most exciting casino resort in Louisiana. 1-0 Astros. They make a defensive switch. Brownie will tell you about it as we go to the 7th.
Sizzling fajitas there. Brian Bogusevic there in right field for Brian Bixler. Bixler left after going 0 for 3. And now in this 1-0 game, here's the 7th inning already. For Lucas Harrell, that's ball 1 to Yonder Alonso. Alonso is 1 for 2. It's a 2-ball, no strike count. White Sox pounded Minnesota 12-5. 69 pitches for Harrell, 47 of them strikes.
These games are fun to pitch in when the other guy's pitching a good game and you're going back and forth, but you'd like to have a little more wiggle room. One mistake and you're in a tie ball game.
Forsythe and Maben to follow here in the Padres 7th. Over shortstop, and that is a hit in front of J.D. Martinez. Looping line drive single by Alonso, and that makes him 2 for 3.
2 hits, not hit either one of them particularly hard.
A little inside out action there.
Soft little flare. They have not hit many balls hard off Lucas Harrell at all tonight. Well, neither side really. Not like there's a bunch of guys in that dugout shaking their heads, cursing their bad luck because they hit the ball right at somebody.
15,012 the attendance tonight. Logan Forsythe single to right in the 5th. He's 1 for 2. Taking ball 1. Chris Sale won his 9th for the White Sox against 2 losses. Adam Dunn hit his 24th home run. Alex Rios number 10. It's an unusual year for Adam.
Good pitch. Good looking pitch.
2-0.
Ow! Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire, squeezing him a little bit. Well, that's right where you want to go to. Make him swing at that ball down there. Get your ground ball, double play.
You bet. Runs that one in on his hands and gets a foul ball for a 2-ball, 1 strike count. And sometimes that's what a pitcher does when he can't get a call. He makes the hitter swing the bat.
Well, this is the tandem back in the 2nd inning. Alonso on first, Forsythe at the plate. When the Astros turned that 4-6-3 double play.
Boston ripped Toronto 10-4 tonight. John Lester going to 5-5 with that win, beating Ricky Romero. Fly ball. Bogusevic pursues it deep into right field. On the track. Whoa, wow. Just enough room. And he's just in the game with a difficult chance there for out number 1.
Forsythe showing some pretty good off-field pop. Yeah, the last time Brad did this when he brought Bogey in for defense, he made a couple of sparkling plays and hit a home run.
He's been an impact player off the bench a few times this year in that regard, usually in the starting lineup. But yeah, he can come in and make a play or steal a base, get a big hit. He's one of those guys who can contribute when he doesn't start. Maben the batter. He's grounded out and struck out looking. Ball 1. Washington 5, Colorado nothing. Top of the 3rd in Colorado. Ryan Zimmerman hit his 5th.
That's after the Nationals put a pretty good beat down on him last night.
Rockies are going to go with a 6-man rotation. How unusual is that?
Well, they were going to go with a 4.
Yeah.
Now they're going with a 6.
Yeah, they're going with 6 now because 2 of the 6 were in the minor leagues. They're calling up Guthrie again and somebody else. So they said that was really their plan all along. But people misconstrued it and thought it was a 4-man rotation.
Well, I have no issues with anything they try outside the box. in Denver with the pitching.
And that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a difficult thing to deal with, the way the pitchers get knocked around. Obviously, their pitching hasn't been good at all this year, but it's compounded by the fact that they play up there in Mile High Denver. But you know, to that end, I guess it gives them a chance to experiment. You can play around with any number of combinations.
Right, and Dan O'Dowd and Jim Tracy said, well, look at our record. Why shouldn't we try something different? It's not like we're going great guns here. We're 28-45. He swung and struck out. That's number 6. And then somebody asked General Manager Dan O'Dowd, well, how are you going to get a free agent to come if you're using a 6-man rotation? He said, we can't get a good free agent pitcher to come here anyway.
Yeah. Save all your money, overpay hitters. I mean, I'd be tempted. I mentioned this to Tracy when we were out there. I said, you know, at some point, do you contemplate a whole staff of guys that can give you a couple innings every other day? Just kind of change up the whole way the game is played.
Broken bat. Downs to his left. On over to first. The barrel of the bat's on the mound. Lucas Harrell picks it up. And he is pitching a beauty. 1-0 Astros. Homer in the third. The starting pitchers for the next 2 games are presented by Chevron. Tomorrow night it's a 6:30 Astros live airtime for Andrew Kashner of Conroe and Dallas Keuchel. And then Friday in Chicago, Bud Norris opens against lefty Paul Maholm. Another reason for configuring the rotation this way, Brad Mills explained tonight to the media, JD, is that he didn't want 3 left-handed starters in a row. So Bud going Friday will break up those left-handed starters in the rotation.
Okay. It's going to be fun tomorrow with the contrasting styles of the finesse left-hander Keuchel for the Astros and the power right-hander Kashner.
Oh, yeah. Jed Lowry's 0 for 2. Looking at strike 1. Richard has set down 12 straight after the home run by Downs. What a duel tonight. We were looking down below us. We throw out peanuts and Cracker Jacks at 7th inning stretch time. The people standing down below us didn't even realize it was the 7th inning stretch already. It's here so soon.
Natural rhythm has been upset here.
Yes. We almost beamed a couple of folks.
Yeah, not good when you have to hit him in the back of the head with the peanuts to get their attention. Hey, we're trying to feed you down there. There's also a guy right in front of us with a Chris Holt jersey on. Ooh. I don't see many of those.
No. Chris is still living in Dallas. Have you heard?
The last I heard that was a long time ago. So
Last we heard. No balls, 2 strikes.
there he is.
Back in the old blue and gold days.
Showed a lot of promise, and then it just didn't stick around very long.
No.
Did he get hurt? I can't remember.
Yeah, he did. He had some arm problems. Yep. 1-2. Well, that was back in the old blue and gold color scheme days. And there's probably a different color scheme coming next year, although that's a closely guarded secret. But there are going to be changes to the ballpark. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There are going to be some new signage going up out in left field on the light standards soon. And the names of those companies that are taking part in that initiative to build ballparks throughout the neighborhoods will be going up there. Astros Community Leaders Program. It's a 5-year program to build those inner city ballparks. So the names of those corporations, and there are 12 corporate partners, will be going up there. And they'll ultimately contribute $18 million to the city of Houston over the next 5 years for that. Oh, Lowry was on his way to first, and that is called strike 3. 3-2 for Jim Wolf.
Not too demonstrative, but just letting Jim Wolf know that that ball's outside, Jim. That's outside. I think Jim's just got, that's off the plate. Been a tough night for the hitters, but I don't think he's been overly generous to the pitchers. I think the pitchers have just been that good tonight. Clearly that one was off the plate. He missed that one, but he hasn't missed many.
Carlos Lee is grounded out both times. There's strike 1. So with the new signage going up in left field, they'll have to move some of those pennants up on the left field wall because they would have been covered up by the new signage otherwise. Line drive left field. Caught by Quentin. 2 outs.
Do we know where the pennants are going?
Jim Crane wasn't quite sure, but he said, they'll be rearranged somewhere else on that wall. And he said next year they'll probably change in coloring anyway to go with the new color scheme.
Yeah, see, I think the pennants, we talked about this before the game, should reflect the colors of the years in which those teams won.
Okay.
So the 80-86 teams would be a kind of rainbowy motif, and then on down the line.
Well, you should go ahead and provide your input.
I just did.
Okay, you did. Well, you took care of it. 2 hits and 1 run in 6 2/3 for Clayton Richard, and an outstanding night with no walks. He's thrown 82 pitches. 56 have been strikes.
This game's a little bit like Keuchel's. Command left-hander. Some pretty good sink, good changeup.
He is 6'5". Ground ball in the hole, backhanded. Cabrera goes out Martinez, and that's 15 straight retired by Richard. 1-0 Astros after 7.
2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 10th at 6:30 p.m. Central on Fox. And, of course, we're all still hoping that either Altuve or Lowry are playing in that game, and if so, Altuve is healthy enough to play, guys.
You bet. Lowry was caught looking in the 7th inning for the Astros, so Clayton Richard has been really strong, retiring 15 in a row, but he will now leave for a pinch hitter as the 8th inning arrives and the Padres trail 1-0. Chris DeNorfia is the pinch hitter. He's currently on a 12-game hitting streak, longest by a Padre this year. 284, 2 homers, 11 runs batted in for DeNorfia.
This is a move just about any manager would make, save perhaps Larry Dierker. Dirk would argue, hey, especially a guy like Richards, halfway decent hitter.
Carlos Lee diving, the ball trickles away, he grabs it, keeps his foot on the base, and gets the out.
Stay with it, big fella. He's rolling over on that shoulder. Desperation in the eyes. Harrell running a little screen.
Yeah, Harrell almost got flattened.
Just in the nick of time. Carlos gets the bag, gets the ball, gets the batter.
Very interesting. That's one out. And now it's Venable coming up. Venable 0 for 3.
That was beautiful.
Venable has not gotten the ball out of the infield. Taking ball 1 from Harrell, who has 83 pitches. Luke Gregerson and Dale Thayer are at work in the bullpen. Line shot left. J.D. Martinez.
One of the few well-struck balls by the Padres tonight. That one hit right on the line, but J.D. able to close on it, put it away, no problems. 2 quick outs. Harrell following up a dandy last time out with an even better game here tonight.
Clayton Richard in 7 innings allowed 2 hits, 1 run. He did not walk a man, and he struck out 5. He threw 84 pitches, 57 for strikes. Everett Cabrera is 0 for 2 with a walk and a steal. Tim Lincecum shut out the Dodgers. Bunted. Harrell over to lead. And in the middle of the 8th inning, it's Houston 1, San Diego 0. DeNorfia close to the first base bag, trickles away from him. He puts his right foot on the base, stretches out, grabs the baseball with his right hand, and gets the out. Well, Harrell is is there at first base, and the runner is arriving right into him, to Northfield.
Put your right hand in, you put your right hand out. You're in the great hands of the game, but it was all the shoulder, the belly, the arm, the foot. You got everything going on there to make that play.
Dale Thayer's 1-2, 5 saves in 6 opportunities. He got his first major league win in this series, and that was on Monday night, a shutout inning of relief.
There. Got a lively fastball. It sits about 94 miles an hour. Slider and a changeup. That old school stash working out of the Goose Gossage, Sparky Lyle school.
Yes. Chris Johnson's 0 for 2. Bounced into a double play and he grounded out. That one moves him back, and it's ball 1 for Thayer after Richard pitched so well. Thayer was the closer for a while Houston Street was on the disabled list for the Padres. And he opened the year with a 10-inning scoreless streak. That comes in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Padres have their 3, 4, 5 hitters due up in the 9th. Headley, Quinton, and Alonso.
With that stash and that arm angle, you might be reminded of Doug Jones.
Oh, yeah.
He's got about 10 miles an hour on Jonesy with the velocity on the fastball.
1-2.
Low 3/4 delivery.
Just off the plate. 2-2. It's at 95. Around the notch of the knee. That's a tough pitch.
That's the pitch. I'm guessing that was in the box as well.
Okay.
One of the one Lucas threw. Consistency from the Wolfman.
Yep. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Hot potato down there.
We may have a question tomorrow night on Astros Live about umpiring strike zones, JD.
All right. I will bone up on that. I'll do my research tomorrow.
And there's a strikeout. Out number 1 for Thayer.
This time he elevates the heater at 94 miles an hour. Slips it by CJ. 0 for 3 tonight, but he's not alone. There's a whole bunch of 0-fers in this game. 6 hits total.
Chris Snyder's grounded out twice. Tim Lincecum and the Giants shut out the Dodgers 3-0. Lincecum going to 3-8. Romo getting his 4th save.
Giants sweep that 3-game set with the Dodgers, and they are now tied atop the NL West.
Yes, they are. It's got to be such a relief for Bruce Bochy, Dave Righetti, for Lincecum to be back in top form. 2 balls, no strikes. There was a story about Lincecum spending a long time on the phone after a recent loss with his dad, trying to figure things out. Popped up.
Don't know if that 1 start means he's all the way back, but certainly a step in the right direction. That Dodger lineup really a little punchless these days. They hung in there pretty well for a while without Matt Kemp, but had a hard time scoring runs. Lincecum, I guess the one thing you would really be encouraged by if you're Righetti and Bochy is just 2 walks in his 7 innings.
Yes. Downs on deck. Ground ball, backhanded Headley. 2 outs for Thayer. Bart?
Yeah, Bill, following up on that promo we read a moment ago, we want to remind everybody that voting is now open for the 2012 All-Star Game in Kansas City. This is your chance to help send Jose Altuve and Jed Lowry to this year's All-Star Game. You can go to Astros.com/vote and vote up to 25 times. Do it now while we're talking about it. Astros.com/vote. Once again, the game is Tuesday, July 10th at 6:30 on Fox. Back to you guys.
Stuff that ballot box. You only had 24 hours. Matt Downs has provided the only run in this game. Tapping that one foul, strike 1. He hit a 3rd inning homer on a 3-1 count. And he struck out in the 5th. It's 1-1. That one goes way up on the screen.
So Lucas Harrell's kind of in a sweet spot now. An outstanding homestand. He'll miss Wrigley. That's usually a good thing for a starting pitcher. And he'll catch the Pirates. They don't score any runs, and that's a great ballpark to pitch in. Oh, here's the one run in this ball game. Matt Downs delivered a mighty blow.
Now it's 2-1 to Matt. In the air to center field. Maben. And that's 8 innings. 1-0 Astros.
Astros lead at 1-0. Hey, this season, Major League Baseball on Fox is proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. Prior to tonight, Lucas Harrell's longest outing as a Major League pitcher was 7 1/3 innings. Padres have lost 118 in a row and they trail after 8. They're trailing only by 1 as Headley leads it off here in the 9th and smacks a single over shortstop into left center field.
Well, you want to go and do that. The next guy that scares me, Quentin, he's the guy that delivered the game winner the other night.
Yep. Headley runs well. He's 1 for 4 now, and he gets something started here with Quentin having hit 2 fly balls and walked, coming up for the 4th time.
This has been a very interesting game. Padres pitching tonight. Richard and Thayer combined. None for Thayer. 3 pitches out of the stretch all night long for the Padres.
Ball 1 to Quentin.
Martinez singled in the 2nd. Richard went into the stretch. 3 pitches later, he had a ground ball double play off the bat of Chris Johnson. The only other hit, only other base runner, the Downs home run.
Alonso's on deck, and he has 2 hits tonight. Now it's 2-0 on Quentin.
You can understand why Harrell would be a little cautious with Quentin. It goes against his approach all night long, but you get into this stage of protecting a 1-run lead in the 9th inning, and you've got a dangerous hitter up there. Changes the dynamics, changes where your head is at. He's got to make a pitch here.
He throws a strike. It's 2-1. Fernando Rodriguez and Wesley Wright are warming up in the bullpen. Brett Myers has pitched 3 days in a row.
I think one of the big keys for Harrell tonight is that pitch right there. His ability to hit that outside corner against right-handed hitters. That's a tough pitch for him to make because the natural movement for him brings that ball back towards the middle of the plate. But he's been good out there tonight.
3-1 to Quentin.
Tried to reach back and get a little something extra there and misfire. And I think that's what Chris Snyder's going to say. Look, man, you've been good all night long. Trust your stuff. Don't ask your arm to do too much. Don't reach back and get out of sync and make a bad pitch. Go ahead and just throw good quality strikes.
Harrell has not gone the distance in his professional career. Pitched 7 shutout innings here against Colorado in his first start this year with the Astros. That's a strike. And it's 3-2. He started to leave. Lowry did that earlier, and he was rung up.
See it there, number 5, catching the top of the zone, and we saw those low ones earlier that he didn't get, so he's had a little bit of a higher zone.
Big pitch coming for Harrell to Quentin. And it's tapped to shortstop. Lowry hurries in with the shovel to second, and then the gun from down, safe at first. And he took a shot from the runner Headley. They get the force play from 6-4 on Headley for out number 1.
Great try by Downs. Under pressure, trying to turn that double play. Slow ground ball. He knew the base runner was going to be bearing down on him. Nice job here by Lowry to come after it.
Now we get a pinch runner at first. Quentin comes out for Alexi Amarista. Downs felt that slide from Headley. Amarista is the runner. Yonder Alonso the batter. Amarista with 1 steal in 3 attempts. That's ball 1. Alonso singled to center in the 2nd inning. Another hit went to left field in the 7th.
Got to be careful here with Alonso. Got good power all over the ballpark, and throw that runner away, and you can just guide that one into the Crawford boxes. If you go away, you got to make sure you keep it down.
2-0, Forsythe on deck. 94 pitches for Harrell. He threw 103 in his last start in 7 innings, and that was a 2-0 loss to Cleveland. He gave up 1 run on 2 hits in 7 innings. A very tough loss. Now trying to win 1-0. Now it's 3-0. Astros won a 1-0 game back in May, started by Bud Norris against the Pittsburgh Pirates with help from 3 relievers. And that's a walk to Alonso. Runners at first and second now, and 1 out for Forsythe. That's the 3rd walk of the night.
And so the conversation in that Astros dugout, one, is he tiring? And he has to be to a certain degree. You get to the 9th inning, there's always going to be a little bit of fatigue at work. Or is it more staying out of the strike zone for fear of giving up a big hit?
Starting pitcher Jason Marquis is pinch running at first for Alonso. Doug Brocail coming out. Now, part of the assessment here for Doug Brocail and Brad Mills is apparently Brad Myers is unavailable. He's pitched the last 3 games. So looking at Wesley Wright and Fernando Rodriguez warming up compared to leaving Lucas Harrell in. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, and there's also the point of Astros at 31-43. We're here on June 27th. It's like this kid tried to finish a ball game. And that's part of the problem with the way pitchers are handled now coming up through the system. They're never asked to finish tough innings when they're fatigued late in the ball game. Get through it a few times, and all of a sudden the next time it happens, it's not so tough.
Forsythe single to right in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. Maben on deck. Ground ball into left field. Amarista's coming to the plate. Here's a throw from J.D. Martinez to Snyder, and he is out.
Got him! Wow!
Tremendous play by Snyder. Was pulled up the line, up the first base line by the Martinez throw, and he had to sweep the tag back. to get the pinch runner Emerista.
Yes, sir. You got to love a 1-0 ball game. So much on the line. And how about this play from Martinez? Comes after it aggressively, comes up with a big throw, a little bit offline, but Snyder, the catch, the tag. And he probably should have gone right to the base. He might have had a better chance of scoring the run. Throws up the line. No. That was beautiful. And with the one-handed tag, able to hang on.
Now it's a pinch hitter as J.D. Martinez has come up with his second outfield assist. Mark Kotsay for Cameron Maben, who was 0 for 3 with 2 punch-outs. Kotsay has been delivering hits at a very good pace lately. He's 5 for 16 pinch hitting this year with a homer and 4 runs batted in. Kotsay 2 for 4 in this series. He went 3 for 3 Sunday as the starting first baseman. And there's strike 1 to Kotsay. He looks back at Jim Wolf's call. Now the crowd really into it. Such an exciting time if Harrell can finish it out and win 1-0. Astros have 3 shutout wins this year.
Give me one more tag play at the plate to finish this game.
Oh, wouldn't that be a thriller? Kotsay looks at it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Kotsay has driven in 6 runs this year. All have given the Padres the lead. Hit a 2-run pinch homer against Milwaukee May 1st in the 8th to give the Padres a 2-0 win. And that was his 4th pinch homer of his career. It's 2 balls and a strike. Hundley's on deck.
You know, those stomachs are churning in that dugout.
I bet they are. 100 pitches now for Harrell. Swing and a miss makes it 2-2 on a tight breaking pitch.
This is good stuff.
The crowd very enthusiastic here in the 9th inning with runners at first and second. 2 outs in a 1-0 game. Marquis, the pinch runner, at second. And in tight for ball 3. Now the runners go on the 3-2.
Now you're not just worried about the tying run, but the go-ahead run probably scores on an extra base hit, but you can't defend against that. You can't give up the tying run, so you can't play no doubles in the outfield.
Runners go, and it's ball 4 to load the bases for Hundley. That's the 4th walk for Harrell.
The comeback fastball against the left. He's been a big pitch for him tonight, where he starts it at the hitter and runs it back to the corner. That time he just wasn't able to bring it all the way back.
Bases loaded. Hundley, the batter.
I just got to tell you that the old starting pitcher in me just loves the fact that Brad Mills has given him a chance to finish this game.
Sure. 103 pitches now for Harrell. Hundley with strike 1. He's 0 for 3. Strikeout, a pop to second, a grounder to second.
Takes a little pressure off with the bases juiced to get the jump on that hitter. But pressure everywhere now on the field. Snyder can't let one squirt by. All the fielders have to be ready to make a play.
1-1 to Hundley. Hundley's hitting 167 with runners in scoring position this year.
Another night in June, Millsy.
Boy, some kind of a drama. Yeah, they got a low strike call. Well, 1-2. Don't know if that would have been a strike an inning ago. Two balls, two strikes.
Good shot. Shooting for that outside corner. A lot of adrenaline pumping right now.
Jesus Guzman is on deck. Pitcher spot due up next. Chop foul. Hundley has walked 14 times this year. He's got 189 at bats. Astros hoping they can get this one. With a 5-4 record on the homestand to the finale tomorrow night. Hundley chases it and strikes out. And what a 1-0 win for Lucas Harrell. His first professional complete game is a 1-0 shutout, and he finishes with the bases loaded, striking out Hundley. 1 hour and 57 minutes.
Just a beautifully pitched game by both sides. Clayton Richard equally good tonight. Lucas Harrell able to get it done despite the traffic in the ninth. What a beautiful ball game.
Win number 7 of the year for this rookie Lucas Harrell, who lost a tough 2-0 decision last time out, giving up 1 run in 7 innings. So he pitches a shutout this time, and he wins it on a 3rd inning homer by Matt Downs. Final score: Houston 1, San Diego 0.